Hey there, in today's video, I'm going to be telling you the 3 unsexy things that your website needs to have. And I will say it's really important that your site gets these done, but I'm sorry, they're not like the fancy logo, color scheme, all that kind of stuff, but they are really important to the health and well-being of your website. My name is Yasmin Robles with Robles Designs, and I create drill-worthy websites and brands for entrepreneurs who are hell-bent on taking over the world. I do this not just by creating pretty sites, which I do. I also install strategy and just create the site that you want, that you've been dreaming of, with some thought process behind it, because ultimately a site, no matter what it looks like, should be converting people to be your clients and make you money. Okay, so the very first thing that your site should have is an SSL certificate. An SSL certificate is basically, I think it stands for Secure Sockets Layer. And yes, that is in my notes because I can never remember what it is. But it is an SSL certificate, Secure Sockets Layer. And really it is the S after the HTTP. And you will notice that your site will be HTTP and then the colon, or it'll be HTTPS. So S stands for you can think of it as secure. There are also other triggers that you could see. For example, on some browsers, on Chrome, it'll say not secure over right before it starts spelling out the web address. And others, I think my Safari will block me from going there, and it'll say, are you sure you want to come into the site? And I will click yes, and then I can actually get in. But it's like an extra step in the process that you don't want your clients to have to do. Yeah, it's really great to have an SSL certificate. So the first reason is because, again, it's just like this weird block on your browser, and you don't want your potential client to see that and think, for example, if they're on Safari and they see that, like me, and they think, you know what, this might not be a secure site. I don't think I want to go into it or anything. The other reason to have an SSL certificate is because Google is looking at that, and Google doesn't tell you what they're doing for SEO and all of that. Essentially, if you have really good content, you should be showing up, but you also have to follow best practices. And having the SSL certificate just tells Google that there's an extra layer of protection on your site. If you don't have it, you could get dinged for it. And why would you want to get dinged? If your content is amazing, then you should just be able to have it on there and helping people out there, right? So get the SSL certificate installed. Of course, you can always get me or my team to support you with it. But ideally, you want to make sure that you just have the SSL certificate, that Google notices that you have the SSL certificate, and that your clients are also seeing that on the site. The next unsexy thing that you should really have on your website is a privacy policy. And actually, you should just talk to your lawyer, and you might need to have a bunch of different legal pages on your site. Although a privacy policy page is actually kind of boring to look at, it does end up protecting you a lot. It basically tells people, and I'm not a lawyer, so chill, but this is my understanding of it. It basically tells people that are coming to your site what you're tracking, what information you're getting from them, what you're tracking, what you're keeping, what you're going to do with it afterwards. Are you going to sell their information? Are you going to use it for ads? What are you doing with their emails? Any third-party information that they should really know about. So keep that in mind. This is why you really need to have one. You don't want to get caught in some kind of issue where you really will wish you had some kind of protection from whatever happens legally. And so you want to have a privacy policy at the very least. And really every site should have a privacy policy. There's no site that I know of that wouldn't want to track what people are doing on it. Let's say, for example, you're an e-commerce site. Obviously, you want to track what people are doing on your site and what products they're visiting the most, or just seeing what products when they're leaving your site, right? What products they're like looking at and then not purchasing. For a service-based business, you want to track a lot of other things, and this will go to number 3, but essentially I'll also protect yourself when people come up to you like, oh, why are you tracking me? Well, it was in the privacy policy. A few other legal pages, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know which of the sites actually need one, maybe all of them, but really a terms and conditions. I've also heard of a website terms of use and an accessibility policy. Accessibility policy, I would say, is also top because it tells people that, hey, if you find something that is not accessible on my site, please let me know. And these are the steps that I am taking in order to make sure my site is accessible. If you don't know what accessibility is, Google website accessibility, and then that might give you a general idea. I've also have a few blog posts out there, so make sure to check out the notes and stuff for information on accessibility. But essentially, it means that people with disabilities or just who browse the web a little differently will need to be able to access your site. So can they tab through the site without a mouse? Is the text too light on a white background and they can't really read it? So things like that. And even if like you're only slightly sight impaired, when it's light gray text on white and you can, any normal person could see it, but like if my mom has to put on her glasses in order to see that, that is an accessibility issue. So you want to make sure you're covered. You don't want to get sued or anything like that. So talk to your lawyers, see what type of things you need on your site to keep yourself covered. There are, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but there are templates out there. Some people have copied and pasted, and then others pay their lawyer. I cannot really advise you on any of that. A lot of my clients seem to just go beginning clients seem to go to the template route, but I do prefer a lawyer, although it's pricier, but you know for sure that somebody looked it over and it's specific to your industry and specific to who you are targeting, just specific to everything that you're doing, right? And you might want to get that looked at maybe a couple times, just in case you are adding new services, or if you added a membership site, or if you're now selling something on your site, you want to make sure that you are keeping it updated. The third thing that you should have on your site, and is totally unsexy, but actually kind of cool, is the Google Analytics tag, as well as Google Search Console. Both of those attached to your site will make an amazing duo. So the Google Analytics basically tells you everything except for people's eye color, but it tells you everything else. So it'll tell you, are they on mobile? What type of platform are they on? Are they on Safari? Are they on Firefox, Chrome? Are they on a MacBook? What system they're running? It'll tell you if they were on their phone, tablet, or desktop. It'll tell you what pages that people frequented, when they dropped off, and just watch out for the changes in the dashboard. That always gets to me because every time I figure out where things are, it seems like they changed the dashboard on me. But the information is still there. And even if you are not planning on tracking any of the information yet, you're not planning on actually maybe full force doing SEO or looking at traffic, you just want to kind of get the business and the website up, still make sure that that is included, that is part of your package, or that is attached, that you can easily attach it to your site. Because you don't want to be 1 year from now trying to figure out what is the best blog post to repurpose when you don't have any information from the previous year. Let it track, let it just marinate, and then when you're ready, you can come back and say, okay, in the last year, I have pushed really hard on blog posts and my YouTube video. So where did I get the most traffic from? Was it Facebook, YouTube, and then what blog post really got more traction? All that stuff will be super beneficial to the strategies that you will be using in your marketing. So make sure to add that in, even if you're not really ready to be diving in full force into the analytics, at least it's already tracking for you. Same thing with like the Facebook pixel, right? The other one, Google Search Console, same thing, attach it to your site when you get it built. And what this one does is, to simplify it, it looks at the keywords that you're currently ranking for. It gives you the impressions, the clicks. And so, for example, it'll say, Robles Designs is one of my top ones. But, side note, you don't want to rank for your own title or your own name, right? You don't want to rank for your own business. because that means it's already people who know you. So what you want to rank for are others. We can go down a big rabbit hole, but essentially you want to track what keywords you are ranking for, and then that way you can strategically market to people who haven't heard of you yet, but are possibly, for example, let's say I go on a binge on Squarespace and I'm trying to gain clients on all these different topics for Squarespace. Then I go into Google Search Console and see what I have been in the past, what I've been coming up for, and how I can tweak that in order to move forward with my new goal. Same thing if I wanted to do more of like e-commerce websites, then what can I do by looking at the information of the past? What can I do to pivot in those keywords? So it's a free tool. It's really great to have already tracking on your site, and it's just interesting too to when you're putting in so much effort and energy into DIYing your site, and then just marketing, right? Just marketing, even if you're not DIYing it, even if you have a team behind you, it's great to go back in and look at all these analytics and see what has worked, what hasn't worked, and how you can pivot your business. And that's just really cool for me. I can nerd out on Google Analytics and Search Console and all that stuff. But so those are the 3 unsexy things that your website must have, needs to have. It's like the top thing that you shouldn't even skip on. So one of them was Google Analytics and Google Search Console, and then the privacy policy, and then some of those other legal pages. Again, those aren't going to be pretty, but they should be linked at the bottom of the footer of your site, not at the top navigation, but really somewhere where people can click on them. And finally, the SSL certificate, so that your site will be secure and people will trust you. Make sure that your site is built right with the right foundation. And if your designer isn't asking you about the SSL certificate, the privacy policies, or Google Search Console, or Google Analytics, Facebook Pixel, any of that stuff, they're not thinking strategically about your site. They're just giving you a pretty site, which is great. But at the end of the day, pretty sites don't make money. It's the sites that are strategically formulated, created for you with your marketing goals in mind, in order for you to move forward and swim in a bunch of money, kind of like Scrooge McDuck in that one episode. If you are a watcher of Scrooge McDuck when back in the day. Oh, I aged myself. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions on your website, make sure to go to roblesdesigns.com or check out all of the other videos that I have. Make sure to binge on them and let me know in the comments what is the one unsexy thing that kind of surprised you the most from this video, and what is one unsexy thing on your site that you have added and feel really comfortable and good about. All right, until next time, see you in the next episode.